Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast for Monday, March 27, 2023. This is Mark chapter 6, verses 47 to 52. Let me just set up the scene. Jesus has put his disciples into a boat and said, guys, go ahead. I'm going to stay here and pray up on this mountain. And they're like, okay. So the guys are out in the lake on their boat. Jesus is up on a mountain to pray. Later that night, the boat was in the middle of the lake with the disciples inside. Jesus was alone on land. He saw the disciples straining at the oars because the wind was against them. Shortly before dawn, he went out to them, walking on the lake. He was about to pass by them, but when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. Immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." Then he climbed into the boat with them, and the wind died down. They were completely amazed, for they had not understood about the loaves. Their hearts were hardened. And that's the word of the Lord. A couple quick things. One, isn't it interesting that they're straining in this boat against the wind and against the waves, but the thing that freaks them out is not the wind and the waves. The thing that freaks them out is the presence of Jesus. I think that's interesting. Isn't it interesting, too, that it says that Jesus was headed toward them, walking on the water, which in and of itself is pretty incredible. And it says in Mark that he was going to pass by them, but that they cried out. They were terrified, not because they thought it was some oogly boogly zombie. They cried out because they saw him and were terrified. They thought he was a ghost. And they're like, wait a minute, what? So now all of a sudden they're in this freaky like funhouse of horrors. They got the wind coming at them. They have their rabbi walking on water. He appears to be a ghost. They're all waiting to wake up sweating. This is just a dream. No, it's not. This is real. And then they're freaked out, and Jesus jumps into the boat and starts to speak. He says, "Take courage. It's me. Don't be afraid." Well, he says it, then he gets into the boat. Here's the thing that I'm thinking about this morning, and I'm curious about what you're thinking as well. That's what the comments are for. Jesus, his presence is oftentimes indiscernible by our spirits. We just aren't thinking about the fact that he's here and he's with us. We often pray and ask God to do something he's already doing. Jesus, just be with me today. Well, he is, right? If you're a follower of his, if you're a disciple, he's with you. But what we're really praying when we say that is, Lord, make us aware of your presence. That's a good prayer. That's a good thing to do. However, it could be that his presence might be the scariest thing and probably is the scariest thing that you're going to deal with today. It is the scariest thing. Think about it. What's more powerful, wind, waves, or the Son of God? And so today, as you go about whatever you're about to go and do, Christ will be with you, no doubt about it. But it could be that you forget that he's the most powerful thing there. And so he's the one to be feared. He's the one to be respected. And yet he's the one who says, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." Jumps into the boat of our lives. The wind and the waves die down. And what does it say in Mark? It says the disciples did not understand. Their hearts were hardened. So my prayer for you, my dear RadCast friends, is that you would have a soft heart, that you would discern the presence of Jesus and be aware of his power, but also be filled with wonder at his grace and know that his presence is the most powerful thing you will have and encounter today. So go and encounter it and carry his presence into this broken world. That's RadCast.